Hello friends, Danny here, and just as you requested, I'm talking about Jamie's bikes on this episode. It's gonna be long because they have huge range of bicycles. That's why you can just jump right into the bikes you are interested in by clicking in the right link in the description. So road bikes, mountain bikes, it's all there. I've made it for you. I'm gonna jump right in to the topic, and at the end of this episode I will show you 4 Jamie's bikes I would buy myself, because I wouldn't buy all the bikes. I will tell you why, but there are some I would really put the money and on the table and buy those. Mountain bikes. We've got some series trail riding, 130mm of travel, and enduro riding, 160mm of travel. We've got some lighter trail riding, which is 120mm of travel. These are full suspension bikes. Then we have trail hardtails, race hardtails, sport hardtails, and some bikes for women. Let's start just from the top. So these are the full suspension bikes, either with 130 or 160mm of travel. Go for the Porta model if you're interested in some serious trail riding. So rough terrain, a lot of gnarly tracks and single tracks and high speed, and so you've got 2 very capable bikes, $4,000, $3,000. This is the manufacturer suggested the retail price. You will 100% pay less in the store. I would say quite often Jamie's will be a little bit more expensive than other brands, but more about that in a second. So this is the Portal bike, 130mm of travel, and they really brag about their own suspension, which is really good. The brake forces are isolated. The whole movement of the swing arm is really optimized. That's something they want you to see even before you see those models. So it's called Instant Center. And both the 130mm of travel Portal and the Hardline 160mm of travel have it. Interesting thing, they have 27.5, 27.5 plus, and 26 plus, like possibilities, options for these bikes. And these Hardline A1, A2 are the bikes for very serious riding. So enduro riding, maybe some free riding. But as you can see, the price does not change. Alright, so these two are 29ers or 27.5 plus, and these here are 27.5, 27.5 plus, and 26 plus. That's interesting. So these are the full suspension bikes for really advanced riders. Less advanced riders, you've got completely different design of the rear suspension. It's called Dakar series. These bikes have got 120mm of travel, and their wheels are just a moment, I don't remember. I think these will be 29ers. Just a second. It should be, you see, it should be a little bit more clear. 27.5. Okay, so these are 27.5. These are not 29ers, 27.5. Most of the modern trail riders, even light trail riders, would go for 29er. They have 27.5, and there's lots of 27.5 bike models for Jamie's, and they claim to be one of the first ones to actually use 650B wheels. If you just like riding in the terrain, you want to have full suspension bike, you're not very into extreme riding, 120mm of travel will be enough for you, and 27.5 is easier to maneuver, so it's okay to have this bike here. Then we've got trail hardtails. Usually is for the guys who are looking for more budget options. There we go. You've got Dragon Slayer, Komodo, High Point, Hijack, Roughneck. The Roughneck, that's the fat bike. And here you've got 27.5, so that's Hijack, 29er, that's High Point, and then Dragon Slayer and Komodo Eden will have 26 plus 27.5 plus versions, Dragon Slayer being steel one and Komodo being the alloy one. As the alloy one will most likely be for sure lighter and most likely less pricey. I think for trail riding riders who are just searching for something cheaper, $16,000, $1,000. Komodo Sport 27, 26 plus, maybe not really. Let's say $1,000 Komodo A2 27.5 plus would be something interesting to look at. So these are also for some trail riding. These are not performance oriented. And then we have the race hardtails. I'm gonna tell you right away, these are not the bikes I personally would buy, but because I think as for the performance hardtails, cross-country hardtails, Jamies is not that very competitive, I would say, especially when you look at the bike, which is 27.5 inch wheels, costs $6,000. It's got high-end carbon frame and really high-end components. The weight is not very impressive for me. That's 20 pounds. So this is not very impressive for me. With these smaller wheels, it should be lighter. So it's not something I would look at. They've got it. So these will be fast, stiff, and racing-oriented bikes. But 29 will be, I think, half a pound heavier than 27.5. Yeah, they claim 20.5 pounds here. Nice looking, very original. They've got their style. That's interesting. But by the way, if you're searching for 27.5 inch wheels for cross country, because that's your riding style, Jamies is one of the few brands that will give you this option in large size, because other brands only use 27.5 in smaller frame sizes. Jamies have got it for you here. So that might be an option for you. This was the performance race hardtail, so both carbon frames. And here we have something on 27.5 and 29 inch wheels. That's Trail X, the smaller wheels, and Durango, the bigger ones. It's not the bike I would buy because the turny derailleur is a really bad one. But there you go, there is such a model, so something for $580 to buy. I think Giant Talon will have significantly better components than the Jamies, at least at this point. And then women's bike, we're gonna look at those on the other category in the second. So these were the mountain bikes. I think that the trail bikes, these 130, 160 millimeters are interesting. This one, 120 millimeters, also interesting. And trail hardtails, you've got many different models. Then we've got the road bikes, and here we have fixed gear. That's the easiest one to explain. We've got bikes with a fixed gear and costing $370. Then we've got some old school touring. I'm not sure who's buying these bikes nowadays, but maybe there are some. For sure, there must be some people who want to have steel frame, very classical looking bike. There you go, it's there. But for touring, bikepacking, or commuting, I would definitely choose some other model. I'm gonna show you that later on. Cyclocross, great looking cyclocross machines, and they have covered the carbon bikes. These are the Supernova Team, Supernova Elite, and then Nova Pro. That's the aluminum alloy bike. So if you're interested in some more serious racing in CX cyclocross, there you have it. Two models on carbon frame, one model on the alloy frame. I would not use these as commuters because they've got some super nice commuters. About that in the second. So this was the cyclocross bikes. And finally we've got the competition road, performance road, and the adventure. Let me start with the adventure because competition and performance, I want to compare these. This is interesting stuff. This is the Renegade in road version, gravel version, commuting version, bike packing option, and a road plus, which is so interesting because of the frame and also of the wheels. They are so fast in the turns, such wheels. So when we just scroll down, versatility, that's the right word for the Renegade. There you have it. So these are carbon bikes. Then we have steel ones, so chromoly from let me think, who was the manufacturer of these? Reynolds then. And then finally we've got the alloy one, $879. Good deal in my opinion. Something interesting. The spec will be very low, Claris, but it's enough because new Claris is quite cool. Cool bike, really cool bike, very versatile bikes. So Renegade is interesting. You've got carbon option, steel option, and alloy option. So all the materials covered, all versions of these bikes covered, and in my opinion, Road Plus is something very interesting if you want to have if you want to have fun on the fast bike. So this was the adventure, and finally competition and performance. Performance is a competition, but these should be called more like sportive bikes. We've got steel one, that's Quest series, and I don't think that people buy steel bikes for performance in nowadays, but I think Jamie's bikes, they have some niche that will attract customers looking for something else. There you go. This bike won't be super light. It will cost a bit because the Femme cost $1,000, and then Elite Femme Sport would cost $699. Or $699 is not much, but this is not a performance bike. And this one for $1,700 will weigh. The weight is not the most important factor, but since we're talking about performance, 20 pounds on Shimano 105, sort of. So it's not the bike for somebody performance oriented. I would say road bike, like fun road bike or something. Maybe endurance bike. That's something I would call it like that. But then the Ventura series, this is the interesting bike, as it goes from $800 the women's version, but Ventura Sport is $800 as well. So these bikes are for guys and women who want to train, who want to compete, and don't have that high budget. Jamie's Ventura, interesting bike. And finally, competition roads. This is the riding against the time, but here we've got Zenith and Icon series, also interesting bikes. The carbon one, it looks awesome. And there is one thing I disagree with, which I'm going to show you on the alloy version. The Zenith will start from $2,000, and they've got two different frames in terms of the carbon layup, from Zenith Comp Femme and Zenith Comp, the men version, up to Pro. They will have lower carbon layup, lower budget. And then Zenith Team and Zenith LTD will have the so-called high modulus carbon. You're gonna see the difference right here. So that's the Elite M30 by T700 carbon fiber, and when you click from Pro and lower models, it will have T700 FRP. Whatever that actually means and where the carbon is, you can be sure that these two, LTD and Team, will have lighter and stiffer frames, and these will be less stiff, a little bit heavier, but might be also more durable than the super light frame. Nice looking bikes. And then the Icon series, they've got the alloy, interesting looking alloy bikes with the external cables here. I'm loving this. This is the stuff I'm not, I do not agree with. They call it pedaling platform, and they say that using a 34.9 millimeter seat tube is better than 27.2 because 27.2 flexes and doesn't give the bike that much of the pedaling platform. I disagree. 27.2 is great. Cannondale, they've got 25.4 now, and it flexes and it's awesome. Bottom bracket does not flex because they have the Delta tube on the Cannondale, for example. But you wanna this part of the seat tube flex forwards when you sit on the saddle, and the seat post flex backwards. So 34.9 won't be very comfy on some bumps. Just know that. Otherwise, American classic wheels, rotor cranks. This is something different. So if you're looking for something different, which might be more expensive, it's interesting. It's interesting. So competition road is also cool. And then we jump to the next part, which is Renegade series and Dragon series, called Adventure once again. So Renegade, we've already been there. You've got very versatile bike, very cool bike. And Dragon series, that's the adventure bikes, adventure mountain bikes, okay? Because the Renegade is adventure gravel bike, we can call it like that. And here we have adventure mountain bikes from 26 plus from 26 plus wheels up to 27.5 plus wheels. Which one to choose? Simple. If you spend more time on the terrain, mountain bike. If you spend less time on the terrain, more on the gravel and even road, that's the Renegade. So they've got it covered. Kudos to Jamies for that. The next one is, and now we get into the part where, in my opinion, it's too much. We've got Commuter. This is the bike for commuting. Simple looking, very upright position. Not that much money that you have to spend on it. It's interesting, and it's called Commuter. Then we have Urban Adventure. Once again, adventure. Dakota series and sequel being the steel bike. Simple one by drivetrain, no suspension fork in the front, but lots of different mounts, which is interesting. So this bike is interesting. $1,000 is a bit pricey, but this is a niche, so they don't produce many bikes. I can understand why it's that pricey. And then Dakota series, in my opinion, this is like a hybrid fitness bike, which they've got with different models, with another model. So this is a bit too much. Dakota series sequel I would use as fitness, commuter, city, fun, and very light terrain bikes. These two. And then we go to the recreation bikes, and here you've got Citizen series. This I would say ugly looking, very upright position bike, and it's something I would not be looking at really. Then there you go, Hudson series. It's just too much. It's fun looking, simple bike. Then Explorer series. You see, I don't see that much difference between Explorer and Citizen. It's too much. Why do they do that? And then Trail XR series. For people looking for quality, versatility, affordability, and so inspired by our Trail X mountain bikes. Bit too much, but I'm gonna simplify that at the end, so don't worry. And then we've got, of course, the cruisers. Just nice looking, stylish bikes in different colors. This is it. Then Taxi and Boss, another one. Okay, this one looks like from some cartoon, which is nice. They've got it. So from the recreation bikes, I wouldn't choose any of these actually. And then we've got Youth series. beautiful. From 2 years to 12 years old, blum, you've got everything covered. Nice job. And then the femme bikes, so they have those bikes tuned for women, which is great. And women, I would say, think seriously about 26 plus bikes, because 26-inch wheels, this is the bike I would buy for my wife. That's it. Dropper post, great. Smaller wheels for somebody who's not this is not a racing cross-country racing bike. This is like trail riding, terrain riding. Very interesting stuff. 26 plus, very interesting stuff in my opinion. So they've got, of course, road bikes. There you go. The whole range is there for women. Then street riding. There you go. And then recreation. Very nice. This is nice job. And then they also sell the frame sets. You can buy the Nemesis, Dakar, XCT, Dakota team, Supernova team, and Zenith team. That's nice. And finally, guys, 4 bikes I would buy myself, and why? Renegade, versatility, and the bike I would buy is just $880. A bike which has all the features in terms of the versatility that those more expensive bikes have. I'm not sure this one is also made for the frame is made for guiding the dropper posts through the frame, but it's not that important here. This will be versatile, strong bike, nice fork, and the fork, I think the fork is also full carbon here. No, sorry, this is tapered aluminum steer, so we've got carbon blades and alloy steer, but this is not much. This is really not much for a fancy gravel bike with hydraulic disc brakes. Nice one. This would definitely be the bike on my list. Something from Jamie's to buy. The second one, I should start here. That's the Icon Pro. If I was looking for a bike to train regularly, to ride on the road, to feel the speed, that would be the bike. $2,000. This is a little bit more than the competition can make and do make, but this is also a very original one. And this one has a full carbon fork, I think. Fork, blah 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 blah. Yeah, monocoque one-piece forming technology. So this is a full carbon fork. This bike looks it's much more beautiful than Canada Cat 12. It's just not that light, but it's better looking in my opinion. External cables. I love Jamie's for being different. It's also so easy to operate with these. So for somebody riding quite a lot on the road, in my opinion, this bike, Icon Pro, for $2,000 is a cool bike. But for somebody being serious about racing on the road, I would go for the cheapest model of the Zenith, which is, they have Zenith Team and Zenith Limited. So Team, that's the lightest frame, and this bike would be quite awesome. Let's look at the weight. This is 16 pounds on some Dura Ace, and very, very nice looking American classic wheels, disc brakes. Cool looking. It's just that it's red. I don't like the red that much. The Limited looks better in my opinion. But this is the bike. This is the bike from Jamie's that could be competitive. I think the road bikes are more competitive in performance niche than those racing cross-country hardtails of Jamie's. And finally, this bike, Portal A2. So there's A1 and A2. This is the cheaper one, $3,000 for some quite nice spec. And if the rear shock works just as they say, that might be really an awesome bike. Dropper post, very nicely looking, something that you don't meet that often on the trails. That's great. So this was it, guys. Jamie's bikes. Just as you requested, if you want me to cover some other brand, just let me know. Maybe compare some models of the bikes. That's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.